Hey there, welcome back. So today's episode ended up being way longer than I meant it to, but we're going to be adding this magic bar here, and when we fire an arrow, we're going to decrease from that magic bar, and when we're completely out of arrows, we're also going to add magic potions to the loot table, but when we're completely out of magic, we can't fire arrows anymore, but if we get these little pickups, we can get our arrows back, and you can see that changing up there on the slider. And there we go. All right, so stick around and let's dive right in. Hey there. So today I'm going to be taking a look at how to make the arrow item. And I'm going to be doing the arrow slightly differently than it's done in A Link to the Past. I'm going to do it closer to how it's done in A Link Between Worlds for a couple of reasons. First of all, in our UI, we already have this coin counter here, and if I were to do the arrows the way that they're done in A Link to the Past, I just have another arrow counter here. So if that's how you want to do it, feel free to go back to that coin video and see how I filled out this section of the UI, and you can do it with the arrows just fine. Instead, what I'd like to do is something we haven't done yet, which is to cover how to do a bar that either fills or unfills based on how much you have, like the magic bar. And this is how it was done in A Link Between Worlds. So the arrows represented magic, and then that means that we're also going to have an item in the world to represent filling up that magic bar. So yeah, let's get started here. So first things first, I have a couple sprites that I'll link to in the description. Both of those sprites are there for the bar itself, and then for the little magic bottle that we'll get that will refill the bar. So I'm going to grab both these sprites and pull them into Unity here, and then I will grab both of those, set their pixels per unit to 16. I want to have no filter and none, and I'll apply that. Now the magic bar, I'm going to 9 slice it so that it looks appropriate when we turn it into an actual bar here. So I'm going to go into my sprite editor, and we did 9 slicing earlier with the dialog box, and I'm just going to pull this all the way over so that this curve on the left hand side is completely encapsulated. I'm going to do the same thing on the left, pull it over up to that white stripe, and then I'm going to go down to the white stripe and then up to here, to just below where that lighter green happens. And I will apply this. So let's get out of there. I'm going to zoom way out. I'm going to take a look at my UI here. Now I have my hearts, so if I look at my canvas, I have my health holder, my heart containers. These are set up to be right there. I actually think I'm going to make this a bit smaller because right now it's taking up a lot of visual space. So I'm going to make it significantly smaller than it is right now, and that means I need to scale down my hearts as well. So I'm going to shift click all my hearts, and I'm going to change their width from 48 down to, let's say, 24 by 24. No, that's too much. Let's do 36 by 36. And their spacing is going to be all kinds of messed up now because, actually no, the spacing is controlled by that heart container object, so that should be fine. Let's take a look and see how this is. So we'll hit play here. Okay. Yeah, that's not bad. It takes up way less visual space now, and it looks a little less out of proportion. It should probably come down a bit though. So I'm just going to grab the heart containers object, and I'm going to kind of force it to resize to where it should be. Yeah, that's going to be better. Let's try it now. I'm not super great with UI, so most of my UI designing has been me copying what other people do. So alright, cool, that's not too bad, and it takes up way less visual space, so if we have like an enemy up there, it's not being 100% blocked. cool. So now let's add our energy bar to this as well. Alright, sorry for that weird cut. So I'm going to go to my health holder here. I'm going to create a new UI object, and I'm going to use a slider here. I could use an image, but the reason I want to use a slider is because I want to use both the sliced and filled options, and on images they can only be either sliced or filled. They can't be both. So I'm going to choose a slider. I'm going to move this down about here. That looks pretty good. And I'm going to remove a few things. So this comes with the a handle, and I don't need a handle. So I'm just going to delete this. And by default, so if we look at the slider here, sliders have a current value, and as it increases, that little bar that's inside increases as well. So I want, as you can notice right now, at 0 it doesn't go to 0, and at 100 it's less than 100. So the way that we fix that is by looking at the fill area here. So I grab the fill area and I snap it back like that. And then the handle fill area, actually don't think I need to do this to the handle fill area. And then the background. Oh yeah, and then in the fill area, it's the fill I want to do as well. So I want the fill to be like, and then, so now if I go to my slider and increase the value, so now you'll see that if I go all the way down to 0, it's gone, and all the way up to 100, it's completely full. So, alright. Now I want my fill, which has an image, it's already set to be sliced. I'm going to have that be my magic bar. And I'm going to make my slider bigger here so that I can actually see what's going on with my magic bar. Let's grab our fill area. Let's make that nice and big. There we go, that's better. And then for the background, I don't need this to be super big. And it doesn't really fit with the pixely stuff, so I'm just going to make this kind of like a gray background that's just barely visible. Something like that. So now, if we look at our slider, we can see that this is increasing up to 100%, and then down at 0 it's gone. There's a little bit of weirdness that happens here when it's pretty low, but that'll be fine. So in game view, it looks pretty good, and if I take it down, you can see that we've got this kind of nice little transparent area there where it's supposed to be. So, alright, cool. I'm going to set this somewhere in the middle so that I know when it's working. Alright, now, what I want to do in order to have this work the way it should is I'm going to take a look at my script that I have set up for my player inventory so far. So I'm going to go to my scripts, my scriptable objects, and then open the inventory one. And I don't have Visual Studio open already, so I'll be back here in just a moment. Okay, so in my inventory here, I'm going to make a reference to how much magic the player currently has. So I've got my int coins. I'm going to say public float, and I want this to be a float value so that I can have those weird little percentages. And this is going to be max magic, and I'll default it right away to be, let's say, I don't like using 100, even though it's easy to use. I'm just going to use 10. I think it's too big. As soon as you start with numbers like 100, your numbers get out of control, and you have that Final Fantasy 9999 thing. Anyway, so there we go. I've got my max magic set to 100. Now I'm going to need to make a script to read what the magic is in the inventory and set the slider's max value component, which is right here. Set the slider's max value component to be whatever that is. So I might as well, in my scripts, in my game stuff, I'm going to create a new C# script. I'm going to call this Magic Manager. And then I'll open this up. Now, since this is going to need access to something from the UI, I need to add using unityengine.ui to the tags here. I'm going to make a reference to that slider. So public slider, magic slider, and then I'm also going to make a reference to the player's inventory. So public inventory, we'll call this player inventory. And then in my start method, I'm going to do magic slider dot max value is equal to player inventory dot max magic. Now I'm going to have a couple methods here. One to increase the amount of magic that we have, and one to decrease. I'm also going to set here, after I set the max value, I'm going to set the magic slider dot value equal to player inventory dot max magic. Now I'm going to create another method here. I'm going to call this void. This is going to need to be public. Void add magic. And then I'm going to make another one to decrease the magic. So this is going to be public void decrease magic. And for now, I'm just going to have them both increase and decrease by increments of, say, 1 to make our life pretty easy. So what I'll do is in add magic, I'll say if, actually no, let's not do that. Let's just say magic slider dot value plus equals 1, and then we need to check to see if we gave too much. If magic slider dot value is greater than magic slider dot max value, then magic slider dot value is equal to magic slider dot max value. All right, and then to decrease magic, for now I'm just going to hard code it at 1. So I'm going to say magic slider dot value minus equals 1 if magic slider dot value is less than 0, then magic slider dot value is equal to 0. Nope, not double equals. What am I doing? Alright, so I'll save that. Now if I go back into Unity here, I'm going to grab my slider, and this is going to get my magic manager, maybe. Okay, think for a second. There we go. So it gets the magic manager. It's going to get the magic slider, which is itself, and it's going to get the player inventory, which is in my scriptable objects, my player scriptable objects, and then player inventory. So if I hit play now, you should see that bar fill all the way up, and if I check it, it should say that it has a max value of 10. So there we go. So it's filled completely. And if I take a look at the slider component, the max value is 10. All right, cool. Now, there's two things I want to happen here. One, when I get a magic power-up, I want to increase that, and I'll do that using the signal system. And two, when I fire an arrow, I want to decrease that, and I'll do that also using the signal system. So let's first create that power-up. I'm going to go up here to Art. I'm going to grab my magic bottle. I'm going to pull this directly into the scene, not into the game. So let's zoom right in. Magic bottle. See, it's doing that again. It's like it thinks I want to change the texture to be this texture, which is weird. Alright, so I'm just going to place that right there. I'm going to put its sorting layer onto breakable so I can see it. And, I mean, I barely changed the actual link to the past version of this, so, like, I wouldn't suggest using this in a commercial product. Alright, cool. So I'm going to add let's use a circle collider, and then we'll go a bit over. Yeah, that'll be fine. It's too big, but it'll be fine. So we're going to go into our trigger, turn that on. Now I'm going to go to my script. objects, and I'm going to make one. So I've already got Powerup, so let me open that up just to make sure that I know. Okay, so Powerup just has the signal in it. I'm going to make a new C# script, and I'm going to call this Magic Powerup, and then open this up in Visual Studio, and I'm going to make this inherit from Powerup so that it'll get that signal, and then I'm going to add public void on trigger enter 2D, and like always I'll change this from collision to other, and then we'll check to see what the other is. If other dot game object dot compare tag player, then our signal, which in the Powerup class I think is just called Powerup signal, Powerup signal dot raise, and I'm going to save that. Let's go back into Unity. Let's find my magic bottle. Let's give it the magic Powerup script. As soon as Unity's done compiling here. Maybe. I'm way too impatient for my own good. Alright, there we go. Now this needs to know what the signal is, so I need to make a new signal. So in my scriptable objects, I'm going to go to my signals, and then inside my signals I have, what do I have? I have room signals, and then I have all of these. So I'm going to create a new folder to get a little organized here. And this folder is going to be called Powerup Signals. And then in here, I'll create a new signal, and I'll call this Got Magic. Alright, cool. My magic bottle is going to get that signal. And then my slider up here is going to get a signal listener. That signal listener is going to listen for got magic, and when it gets magic, I'm going to invoke something from the Magic Manager, and that is Magic Manager, add magic. Alright, cool. I'm going to save this. I'm also going to make a prefab out of that magic bottle so that I know where it's at. So objects, magic bottle. Now you can also add this to your loot tables and stuff. And now the next thing I need to do is I need to make sure that the player emits a signal to decrease magic. So I'm going to make that signal first this time. So signals, Powerup signals, create signal, decrease magic. Alright, and my slider here, where'd it go? There it is. Is going to need to have another signal listener, and you can kind of keep track of these. This one is for got magic, this one's going to be for no more magic. You could also add a separate game object to the slider, one for listening for getting magic and one for listening for when magic goes away, if this is too hectic in the inspector for you, because it doesn't have to be attached to the object that the script is attached to. It only needs to have a reference to a script that has a public method. So I'm kind of okay doing it this way, but I'm bad at a lot of things as far as this goes. So got magic, decrease magic, I'm going to add, and then this is going to come from the Magic Manager. And then from the Magic Manager, it's going to get the decrease magic. Now I'm going to go into my player, and in my player, where is it? Player movement, which is where we're doing stuff. I'm going to add a new signal. So this is going to be public signal reduce magic, and then in my when I'm creating my arrow, so I only want to make an arrow if player inventory dot we need to keep a reference to that magic, don't we? Otherwise, he'll just keep firing. All right, so how can we do that? What do we want to do? We only want to fire if we have magic. And I guess he could keep track, but then he's going to need to have a signal listener too, and that's not great. I'd rather the slider just keep track. And I don't want to make a nice hard reference between those. So, let me go to my inventory here. I could make so there's max magic. I could make a current magic, and then when the slider powers up, it sets the current magic. Yeah, that's probably better. Okay, so what I'm going to do in my inventory script here, I'm going to make another float. So public float current magic, and then in my magic manager, after I set all that, I'm going to say player inventory dot current, not current item, current magic is equal to max magic. Player inventory dot max magic. All right, cool. And then when we add magic, we're not just going to increase it here, we're also going to increase it on the player's inventory. So player inventory dot current magic plus equals 1. And then when we decrement it, we're going to say player... Oh, I just made a mistake up there. I'll fix that. Player inventory dot current magic minus equals 1. And then this is if the value is less than 0. I'm going to set the player inventory dot current magic equal to 0. And then I did this wrong. This should go cut and paste. I did not mean for this episode to be so long. So we're going to do player inventory dot current magic is equal to player inventory dot max magic. And then I could have just done that with a function on the actual inventory. I'm not thinking today. Alright, so there's my magic manager. Now the player, all they have to do now is just check to see if there's enough current magic to make an arrow. So if player inventory dot current magic is greater than 0. Now I'm not making this super complex. You could have spells that have different amount of magic that they take. I'm not getting super into this, but I'm just creating a base. So like the arrow could have an amount of magic that it takes on that, and you could grab that from here. So like you could have an amount that the arrow takes and then call that here, and then you could change your signal to refer back to a specific projectile that we're firing. So let me save this. Let's go back into Unity and let's see how much of this is broken. This video is getting way longer than I meant for it to be. Alright, so okay, looks like it's done thinking. Maybe. Oh, null reference exception. And of course, I saw it just as soon as I hit play. Good lord. Alright, so what's the null reference exception? Ah, it cleared on play. I think it's probably in the slider. Nope. Is it in the player? It shouldn't be because I didn't change anything. Oh, yeah. So, reduce magic. I didn't actually send that signal out, so I need to fix that. So, in my signals, power up, decrease magic, and then when I make an arrow, I need to, what did I call it? Reduce magic, there we go. Dot raise. Where would I be with that in IntelliSense? Like, seriously. Alright, cool. So it looks like we're okay. Maybe. Alright, so let's give this a try. Those are Unity's acting weird errors. Okay, so okay, that's weird. Where's our player inventory here? So if we look at our player inventory, our current magic is 10. So, oh, I did this the wrong way. If it's greater than 0. Kudos to any of you out there who caught that as soon as I typed it in and have been like screaming at your computers for me to go back and fix that. Alright, so that explains why I couldn't fire an arrow, because my magic wasn't 0. Alright, so let's give this a play and try it now. Alright, cool. So you can see that my magic's decrementing. I'm still able to kill. And let's just strain our magic. So I'm tapping the key, and I got no arrows. So now I'm gonna go. Oh, I didn't destroy it, so it's like a little magic fountain. That's cool. All right, but let's actually fix that. All right, cool. So jumping out of here, let's go into our script and our magic power up. So after we raise the signal, destroy this .game object. All right, cool. Let's save that. Let's go back in really fast here, and let's test that out again. I hope you can see how you could extend this yourself, so you could make spells that have different amounts of magic that they take, and then have that just communicate to the magic manager how much magic to take away. And then you need to have some way of adding magic back, and then you're only able to do the action if you have magic. And now if I go, I have enough for one more arrow, and I missed. Now you can also go back and take a look at our loot tables here, and let me just duplicate this mostly hearts one here. I'm going to call this mostly magic, and instead of it creating the heart, it's going to create the magic thing. So if I go to my object scripts, I want to go to my, where is it? Coin, arrow, door, magic. This loot, oh, that's why. Let's do magic bottle. There we go. So I'm going to save this, and I'm going to go into my room 1, my logs here. Might as well do all 3 of them. And their loot table, they're going to get loot tables, they're going to get mostly magic. And let's make sure it works. So we'll hit play. And I mean, you can change this per enemy. Some enemies give magic, some enemies give arrows. I think it would make, or not arrows, but some enemies give magic, some give coins, some give other things. Alright, cool. So there's a magic bottle. And there's another one over here. This time I'm going to try not to miss. Oh, and I'm out. Okay, cool. Yeah, if you guys have any questions, feel free to leave them in the description down below. You can follow me on Twitter to find out when I post new videos. You can join my Discord, where I'm chatting pretty much every day. And even if I'm not there, there's plenty of people there who are, let's be honest, smarter than I am. So even if I'm not there to help you, other people are. So thank you very much for watching, and I hope everybody out there has themselves a wonderful day. If you enjoyed this video, consider giving a like, subscribing to the channel, or telling a friend who might be interested. Also, please consider following me on Patreon. For as little as $1 a month, you can earn access to tangible rewards, like early access to videos, backer-only videos and series, polls for future topics, streams, and even individual tutoring sessions. You can find a link to that in the description. And as always, have yourselves a wonderful day.